Hello, in this video we're going to be looking at negative numbers, and hopefully by the end of it we are going to be able to do these two things. We're going to be able to place negative numbers onto a number line, and we're going to be able to compare negative numbers. Okay, let's get going. So these numbers here on my number line are positive numbers, but that's not all the numbers that there are. There's also, to the left, these negative numbers. And they're sort of like a mirror image of the positive numbers. So the positive numbers go up in this direction, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The negative numbers go down in this direction, -1, -2, -3, etc. All the way down. So all the way up to infinity this way, all the way down to negative infinity this way. So these guys are positive, these guys are negative, but there's one more number, which is neither, and that's 0. So 0 isn't a positive number, it's not a negative number either, it's just its own thing. So we've got here, these guys are positive, here, these guys are negative, and in the middle, that one's 0. Okay, so what's the point of negative numbers? Now, there are lots of places where negative numbers are useful, and they sort of come up in everyday life. One that I can think of straight away is temperature. So we have 0 degrees Celsius. That's where water freezes, right? But that's not as cold as it can get. It can get colder than that. And this thermometer is telling me that the temperature currently is at -2 degrees Celsius. So that's one place where negative numbers are useful, when it's colder than 0 degrees Celsius. Another place might be with your bank, with some money. So say I've got this statement here from my bank. It told me that my current balance was £100, but I've made this withdrawal. I've taken out £150. So that means that my new balance is -£50. It's -£50, and that sort of means that I owe my bank £50 because I had £100, I've taken out £150, that's 50 more than I actually had, so now I owe them this £50. So we use negative numbers when an account is, we call it overdrawn. I've gone overdrawn in my account by £50, so I now have -£50. Okie dokie, let's have a look at some questions then. So I've got a number line here. Got 0 here, it's going up the way with these positive numbers, going down the way with these negative numbers, and we need to fill in the blanks on this number line. So if this is 0, and this is 2, and then we've got something, and then we've got 6, we need to sort of work out what spacing my number line is going up in. So how am I getting from that 0 to that 2? Well, I'm adding on 2, aren't I? So that's the pattern that we're going with on this number line. Everything is spaced by 2, so I've added on 2. So I need to do it again. I'm adding on 2, which means I'm going to be at 4. And I've chosen to start with the positive end of my number line, just because positive numbers are a little bit easier to deal with. But we're going to do exactly the same thing down here. So if I'm adding on 2 when I go in this direction, I must be subtracting 2 when I go in this direction. So what am I going to get to? I'm going to get to -2. So down here, this bit is going to be -2. So then my number line is going 0, -2, -4, -6. What's going to come next? Well, it's going to be -8, isn't it, if we're going down in 2s? And then one more, I'm going to have that's right, -10. Good. So now my number line goes 6, 4, 2, 0, -2, -4, -6, -8, -10, and -12. And it's a good idea just to check that -12 makes sense. Did I take away 2 to get from this one to this one? Yeah, I did, so my answer makes sense. Good, so that's this one sorted. You have a look now at this one here. Pause the video, give that a go, and we'll check our answer in just a sec. Okie dokie, we're back. How did that go? So I'm going to suggest, like we did before, that we start with the positive end of my number line. So I've got a 6, and then I've got a 9, which means we're going up by 3, I reckon, here. So what must have come before? I reckon that must have been a 3, which means this one, what's that number in between 3 and -3? Well, it's got to be 0. That should have been 0, and then if we fill in these negative bits, what would have been here in between -12 and -6? Well, if we go 0, -3, -6, -9, I reckon is going to go in there. -9, there we go. And carry on all the way down, -9, -12, -15. This is going to be -18. Yeah, good. Lovely stuff. Okay, the next thing we're going to need to be able to do is to put some numbers in order. So the question here says put these numbers in order from smallest to largest. Now I've put a number line down here that we might be able to, that might be useful to help us answer this question. But we're going to start with the smallest. That's what it says here. So let's decide which of these numbers is going to be the smallest. Now the smallest one is going to be the one that is lowest down on my number line, right? So I've got 0 here in the middle, and then these negative numbers. And as we go down, all the numbers are getting smaller, aren't they? So which of these is the smallest? Well, it'll be the one that's the most negative. So -3 is on my number line, it's about there, but -7 is a little bit lower. There's -7, so that one's the smallest. So -7 I'm going to put first, -7, and I'm going to cross it off from my list so I know that I've done that one. So -7 comes first. What's going to come next? Well, all of these other ones are either positive or they're 0. Remember, 0 isn't negative or positive. So the one that must come next is the next negative one. It must be -3. So we've got -7, -3 is going to come next. -3, there we go. And cross it off so we know we've done that one. What's going to come next? We've got 4, 12, 8, and 0. 0 is the next one we come to on our number line, so 0 comes next. Cross that off, and we've got 0. And then hopefully from here, it should be nice and easy. What's going to come next on my number line from 0? The next one I get to is going to be 4, and then it'll be 8, and then I'm going to fall off the top, but somewhere up here would be 12. So my list goes -7, -3, 0, 4, 8, and just about enough space, 12. There we go. There's my answer to this example. Okay, just like we did before, I'd like you to have a look at this one on the right-hand side. We've got some numbers here, and we've got a number line. I'd like you to see if you can put these numbers in order. Pause the video, give it a go, and come back in a sec, see if you were right. Okay, great. What did we get? So we'll start with the smallest, like the question says, from smallest to largest. Which of these was the smallest? Well, it's the one that's most negative. All the way down here we've got -10, so that's the one we're going to start with. So -10 is going to come first. That's the smallest number we've got here. The next one then is going to be the one that is the next most negative. So from -10, -4 I reckon is the one we're going to get to next. -4, good. Cross that one off. Now we've got 2 more negatives to choose from. We've got -2 and we've got -1. Which one is the most negative? So the smallest one is going to be the most negative one. That's -2, and then -1 in that order. So we've got -2, -1. So those ones are sorted. And next we've got our positive numbers, 1 and 5 and 7. 1 and 5 and 7. And you know what? Those are already in the right order, aren't they? 1, 5, 7. So I can just pop those on the end of my list. 1 and 5 and, I think I'm going to fall off. I'll put a ... 7. There we go. 7 to finish off my list. Hopefully you had a bit more space on your page than I did there. Okay, last thing that we're going to look at in this video then is comparing numbers. So you might have come across this symbol before, you might not have, but I'm going to show you a couple of symbols that we use to compare numbers, and they are this one and this one. And we use them to show when a number is bigger than another number. And we can kind of think about this as a big hungry mouth, and the hungry mouth wants to eat the bigger number. So for example, if I get rid of this one just for a sec, for example, if I put 5 on this side, I could put 2 on this side, because 5 is bigger than 2. And in fact, that's how we'd say this. We'd say either 2 is less than 5, or 5 is greater than 2. And my symbol is the right way round, because this sort of mouth here is trying to eat the bigger number. The bigger number goes on this side. But obviously I could write my symbol the other way around. So if we do that, let's flip it back this way instead. Now what numbers could I put in here? Well, I could have 7 over here, and I could have 0 over here. And I'd say 7 is bigger than 0, or reading it backwards, 0 is less than 7. The mouth is trying to eat the bigger number. So that's how that works with positive numbers, but we can use the same symbols when we're dealing with negative numbers. So let's pop in some numbers and see if we can compare them. I've got 5 and I've got -2. Now, which way round should my symbol go? Which of these is the bigger number? 5 is the bigger number, right? Because 5 is a positive number, -2 is not a positive number, it's a negative number, so 5 is bigger than -2. How about if I swap it around a little bit, I've got 2 and I've got -5. Which one is bigger now? -2 is,
start that again, sorry. 2 is bigger than negative 5, isn't it? 2 is bigger than negative 5 because it comes higher up on my number line. The positive numbers are all bigger than the negative numbers. Let's make it a little bit more complicated now. I've got negative 5 and I've got negative 2. Which one of those is bigger? The bigger one is negative 2. So we write it this way around. This one will be further up on my number line than this one. So that's how we use these symbols here, the greater than and less than symbols we call them, to compare numbers. We can compare positive numbers, we can compare positive numbers with negative numbers, and we can compare negative numbers using those symbols. Let's have a look at a pair of examples then. Okay, on this left-hand side, it says use an inequality symbol. So that's one of the ones we just looked at. Inequality means the things aren't equal, so one of them has to be bigger than the other. Use an inequality symbol to fill the gap and compare these two numbers. So we've got a gap between here, we've got negative 7, and we've got positive 4 here. What's going to be the symbol I use? We need to decide which is bigger. Well, this one's positive and this one's negative, so the positive one has to be the bigger number, doesn't it? So this way round is the way my symbol's going to go. Negative 7 is less than 4. Or if we read it the other way, 4 is greater than negative 7. And you can pause the video then at this point and decide which way round the symbol would go to compare these ones. Okay, which way round? What did you decide? Which of these is the bigger number? Well, this time they're both negative, so we have to think about which one is the most negative, which one will be lower down or further along on our number line. This one is going to be the smallest, isn't it? That one's smallest, so my symbol should have gone this way round. Negative 3 is the bigger number, negative 8 is the smaller number, so that's the way this goes. Negative 3 is bigger than negative 8, or reading it the other way, negative 8 is less than negative 3. There we go, lovely stuff. I'll speak to you later, guys. Cheers, bye.